Okay, hi IT players. Welcome to our first session. Do I call it the first session or do I say, yeah, it's our first session recording, right? Okay, so in this session, we are going to look at us having to develop or to design a navigation bar. Now, unfortunately, I cannot only use pure HTML without including CSS because obviously we will want to style it. So we are going to make use of CSS as well, which I will believe that you have a knowledge of CSS. What am I talking about? Of CSS that you have acquired last year in your second year. Though I'm going to also include CSS in this session, we are obviously going to have a CSS introduction as well, an advanced introduction to CSS, just for you guys to understand, for those that do not understand. Now, starting off with this session for today, the first thing that I always tell you to do is to first make sure that you create a new folder, always, for the project that you are working on. Now, in this method, I'm going to name this folder as Nav project. So that's all up to you, like on how you want to name it, but I'm gonna name mine as Nav project. And then the second thing is for you to have an editor. Now in this regard, I'm going to use brackets as an editor, and I hope you are also using other different editors apart from Notepad++ and normal Notepad. Please do not use those two. Use something else advanced. Okay, and then I'm also just gonna bring my web browser here so that we are able to see exactly what we are coding. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new document, and obviously I'm going to save it in my folder that I've created on the desktop. To go on my desktop now, all right, and look for Nav project, and I'm going to name it as index. All right, and please make sure that you add an extension which is HTML. So you can either make use of HTML or you can make use of .htm. They all work the same. They're same extensions, in other words. So I always like to name my first page as index, just to show that it's the first page of the web site project that I'm working on. And I'm going to save this. Okay, now to start off, I'm going to start off with the index of HTML. So obviously I'm going to do that. So you see that? I mean, I just typed in HTML and it already closed the tag for me. Now HTML is always followed by your head, right? Okay, so it's closing the text for me, and inside here the head tag, the head element, I'm going to have a title. Okay, and I want the title of my web page to be navbar. I'm going to name it that way. So I'm going to save it, file, save, and I'm going to show you where this navbar is going to appear on your web browser of your web page. Oh, so we have to go back to our folder. Sorry, let me close this, go to my desktop, Nav project, and open this. Okay, so you see that this navbar here is the same exactly with this one here on my web browser of my web page. So it's up here on the title bar. Okay, now having that said, and without wasting much time, we are going to move on. So title is closed, head is done, so now we are going to move on to body. Okay, now remember, just like I told you, that everything that you want to see on the website, it's always coded inside the body tag. Now the body tag, I'm definitely going to start with the header element. Now you might ask me, Miss, is this header element the same as the one which is up? No. This header element is mainly or it just defines the header for a document or a particular section, and it's also used to wrap a section table of content or either a search form or a logo. So it wraps them up. So we are going to use this element here, and inside this header I'm gonna have a div. Okay, we did actually, I think I gave you, when I gave you guys the different tags, I think I gave you the div tag. So mainly what the div tag does, it defines a division or just a section in HTML document, which is used as a container, and you need to give it a class. I'm going to give it a class. Now when you give it a class, it all depends what class you want to give it. So I'm going to give it a container as a class. Okay, and is it closed? Yes, it's closed. Yes, I'm going to, it's already closed right there. Now inside this container or div, I'm going to add my logo. Okay, so I believe by now you know how to add an image on your web page. So source, so source is like, what's the name? I'm gonna put the name of the image. So the name of my image, I don't have an image yet, so I need to find an image. So I'm gonna use this logo right here. I'm gonna copy it, and or let me just cut it rather. I'm gonna cut it and put it inside my Nav project and paste it right there. So the next thing that you also want to know is what type of image is this. So you right click on the image, you go to properties, and then you'll be able to see that it's a PNG. So if it had a JPEG here, then obviously you use a JPEG, but in that regards we are going to use a PNG because this is the type of the file of my image. So I'm gonna go back. So now I have, and this is the name of my image, which is VQ. I'm gonna go back to my editor, and then I am going to type in vq.png. Okay, I'm gonna give it a class as well, and the class that I'm going to give it is logo, right? So it also depends what name of the class you want to give it. And then I'm going to close it. Oh no, let me just put my angle. Yes, so there we have it. So I'm gonna try to save it and just see what we have so far, and I'm gonna refresh here. There we go. So we have our logo right here, and so it simply shows that so far so good. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to look at is the nav. So I'm going to have a nav element immediately after the div. Now the nav tag or element, it mainly just, it defines a set of navigation links, all right, or major block of navigation links, so you can use it mainly. And just like I said that, I mean, people develop differently, right? So in this regard, for me, I'm gonna use UL and unordered list for my listing of my menus, and inside here I'm gonna link those pages that I want to, the pages that I want to appear on my navigation bar or on my menu, in other words. So obviously under the UL tag or element, there should always be an LI, which is for listing, right? In this regards, I'm gonna have link, okay, href. Okay, so I don't have the pages yet, so I'm just gonna put a hashtag for now because I'm not gonna link them, and then this will be for home, for a home page. Okay, and it's closed. So I'm gonna do that for everything. I'm just gonna copy this, okay, and I'm gonna paste it, Control V, and I'm gonna change this to about us, right? Okay, or maybe just, okay, about us. Okay, I'm gonna do the same, paste, and this will probably be gallery. That's all up to you. I mean, what you want to see on the navigation bar or on your menu. And I'm probably gonna put again, so I'm just pasting, right, because it's the same. I'm gonna put contacts. Okay, so this is what I have so far. So let's try to save and see if everything else is right. Save, refresh our page. Okay, so we are on the right page, but so now it's so much scattered. So obviously now it will need or require styling. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do now is style it. All right, CSS. Okay, so just make sure that everything else that you have here is fine. So I'm gonna save again. I always like to resave just to make sure that everything is saved and in order. So now we are going to open a new file document. Okay, and this is for our CSS, so I'm going to save it. Now this is for styling. I'm going to save it as style.css. So make sure that you always add this extension, which is .css. Very much important. Okay, so I will save it. Still make sure that it's in the same folder. Please do not forget that. Yeah, so I'm gonna save it right there. Okay, so there we have it. Now with CSS, just to quickly give you a quick intro to CSS. Now CSS, the syntax of CSS mainly just contain it contain a selector, and it also contain a declaration. Okay, so that's called a declaration. Oh, declaration. Yeah, so it contains those two. Now a selector can either be your element, all right, element, or in other words, let me just put text just for people that actually gets it wrong sometimes, or it can be an attribute, it can be a class, and so on. So it's mainly all up to you. And a declaration mainly consists of a property okay, of a property and a value. Now for example, you can have, let me say that you want to style the body of your web page. So you can have a body, so your body becomes your selector, and obviously you need to make use of these angle brackets, right? You open this and make sure you close it, so everything should be in between there. Now in this regards, the property will be what you're styling. Let's say the background. All right, the background, that's what I'm styling. And make sure you put the colon, and the value will be what color do you want to give to the background. So in that regards, I will probably say blue. All right, and please make sure you also put colons. So if you know this syntax, then everything else becomes very much easier in CSS. Know your selectors, know your properties, and know your values. If you know these three things, then everything else becomes much more easier. All right, so perfect. So what are we going to start styling with first? First, we're going to start with the body. Okay, so that's my selector. Okay, and inside the body, let's rather say the margin can be zeros. Okay, and then we have the background. Okay, here we can give it like, do I even know, like it's almost a little bit darker, blackish. Then the font family, okay, the font family, font family is just the same as the font type, so in that regard I'm gonna use that, right? Sans serif, it's all up to you. And then the font weight, I'll probably be using 300. I mean, this all depends from you, like what you want to use, right? Okay, so I'm gonna save this as well. And by the way, it's not gonna have any effect on this page yet. Do you guys know why? Because we haven't linked the page yet to the HTML page. So what we're going to do, we're going to link our CSS in our HTML page, the index page, and where we do that is in the head tag or the head element. right? So we're gonna put link href, right? And then obviously here you will have to put the name of the page. In that regards, mine is style.css. Make sure that you spell it correctly. You write it down exactly the same as you have saved the page. Okay, and then I'm gonna have the real, okay, which is, oops, sorry, which is equals to style shirt. Okay, style shirt, and type it's obviously text, so CSS, absolutely. And I'm gonna close it and I will save it. Oops, Control S. I'm gonna slide. You see now it has an effect because we have linked the pages. Do you guys get it? Okay, I hope we have it. Now without you having this link in your HTML page, there is no way that you're going to make use of this CSS. You have to make sure that it's linked. So you see our background color is hashtag 222, which is a little bit darkish, and then our font family, we are using sans serif. As I said, it's all up to you, and the font weight, I'm using 300. So it's all up to you on what you want to see on your web page. Now the next thing that we are going to style is going to be our container. Remember that this is coming from where? Okay, let's go back to our HTML. It's coming from this div class here, this container here. Right now this is a class. Now every time you style a class in CSS, make sure you start with a dot. So I'm going to put it as dot container. Okay, make sure that the spellings are right, and then put our properties and values in here. So the width, yes, we'll probably make it 80%. Yep. And then the margin 0. Okay, so this is just for our container file. Make sure that you save every time. Okay, container. Okay, let's just see if my spelling is correct. Container, perfect. Okay, and then I'm going to style our header. I'm going to put probably just the background. I'm going to give it a different color. Okay, and we can make use of hashtag let's see, 55D699. I mean, just like I said from the very beginning, that this all depends on your preference, like how you want it to be. Let's try to refresh. There we have it. So now our header is tiled and it has a different color which separated from the background color of the body. Can you guys see that? It looks amazing already. Yes, it does, right? Okay, so let's move on. I like it, like, you know, when you are coding and everything is just flowing well, like that's the best thing ever that could ever happen to a developer. Okay, and then we are going to style our logo. Obviously dot logo. So this is another class, that's why I've started it with a dot. Oops. Okay, well, let's just make it float on the left side, right? Okay, let's save it and see. File, save, refresh. Oops. Now can you guys see now that my menu has also moved towards the logo? But that's not a problem, that we can fix it. Okay, let's look at the paddings. Now before we look at the paddings, we will definitely come back to it. Let's try to style the nav. Okay, okay, so float, so let it float to the left. So let it flow to the left. Okay, let's save and see what happens here. Okay, do you see what is happening right there, guys? But that's not a problem. We can fix it here. We can make use of a header after. Okay, so these are also going to learn like when we have an introduction to CSS. Okay, so what will happen after? Okay, so let's say content, there's no content, blank, display table, clear, should clear both. Okay, it's closed. Let's see if that solved something. Okay, perfect. So it's actually back now. But my question is why left? Okay. Alright, so I think we are on the right track. So we have just brought back our nav. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to look at, like the logo is too much close. Let's try to put to style the padding, and let's give it 10 pixels. Padding, maybe 10 pixels. Let's see. Okay, control save. Okay, perfect, much better. I like it. You have just styled your padding. So it's 10 pixels, so I think that should be fine. Okay, so let's move on. So we have styled the nav. Now let's try to style the nav of UL, which is the unordered list. Okay, I hope you're getting where I'm getting all this. So this nav UL is right, this one, yeah, of this. I made it nav UL because UL is inside the nav element, so that's why it's appearing like this on CSS as well. Okay, so we're gonna style that. And we're gonna have a margin can be 0, oops, 0, yeah, padding can be 0 to, I think it's fine. And the list style, because let's try to remember we have these dots here for listing, so I mean we do not want it to be there. Let's make it none and see what will happen. Okay, I mean when you're a developer, I mean you try different things and just see what will happen. Save. That's what makes you a developer. So you should avoid copying codes. You should understand your codes every time. So the dot has disappeared because of this property right here, and the value, which is none, right there. Okay, so we move on to our nav li. Nav li as for listing, that's also from the HTML. So whatever we are styling appears in the HTML document, so we are not taking things anywhere. Okay, so let's say float. Okay, can be left, yeah, and then display. Display can be inline block. Okay, and we can also have margin. Okay, let's first see what happens. File, save. So it should move. Yeah, there we have it. But I think we have a problem somewhere, somehow. But we will get that problem sorted very soon. Okay, the reason why we still have our navigation or our list here is because the nav it's still floating on the left side, so I think I need to change here and put right in order for it to like start on the right side. Okay, let's see. Now we are talking. Oh, that was something I was like wondering what's going on here. Now we are talking. Okay, so the display can be inline block, and then we can also style our margin left. Okay, margin left, we can say 60 pixels, right? 60 pixels. Okay, let's see what happens, just for you guys to see. All right, so our margin left is 60 pixels right here. You see this there. Okay, and then we can also style the padding. Let's see the padding top, which is here, the padding top. We can either give it even 23 pixels. Okay, let's control and save and see the changes. So you see it moved from here all the way here, so now it's in a perfect position. Okay, so you see, when you do this by yourself, you will understand. Even next time when you have to develop something similar, then you already have an idea of what when you're using CSS, of what properties to use and what values you also need to use. Okay, so let's also try to look at the padding height. What am I saying here? Padding. Let me see. Padding right. Yes, padding right. Enter, so we can make it 10 pixels. Now the reason why I'm putting padding right is because you see that context is so much close to the border, so I'm gonna shift it a little bit, or to the margin. I'm gonna shift it a little bit, and we're gonna give it yeah, let's look at 10 pixels, and you'll see how it will move from there. File, save, and perfect. Now it looks perfect. You see, now it has a little space right there. Okay, and then now we are going to try to style our nav, the one for links, and let's try to see, because currently if I put here, nothing is happening, though we all know that these are links, right? So we are going to style our color. We can change that color from blue to something else, so I'm gonna change mine to something similar to my logo, red, maybe dark red or something. Is it dark red? Yes, dark red. Okay, let's see if it changes though. Save. Yep, there we have it. And maybe text decoration. Now you might ask yourself, like, what is text decoration? So text decoration actually has to do with, you know, underlining, overlining, or lining through. Like you can see here that this they're actually underlined. In other words, the home is underlined, so I don't want that underline to be there, so I'm gonna put none. Okay, are we good? So I'm gonna file and save this, refresh. Perfect, you see it's gone. All right, and then we also can probably put a text transformation. Do we have that? Transform. All right, now with text transform, it has to do with capitalization. Like you can see that this is a combination of upper cases and lower cases. When you talk about upper cases, we're looking at capital letters, lower cases are small letters, right? But in that regards, I want my menu or my navigation bar to contain uppercase letters, so I'm going to put uppercase, which is right here, and then that, and let me save, Control S, refresh. Oops, what happened? Oh yeah, nothing happened. It's just because the size of my browser. I almost got a bit worried, but anyways, yes, so there we have it. And then what else can we perhaps try? The font size, maybe that's why. Let's try, because I mean it looks way too big. Let's change our font size right here, because the font size right there looks quite very something else. Font size is there. We can probably even put, let's try 14 pixels. That should be okay. Let's try to save it. File, save, refresh. Perfect. Now we are talking. Now we are talking, guys. Okay, so let's try to move on. We are definitely getting there, and as far as I'm concerned, I believe you guys are getting an idea of, you know, how they really create these navigation bars or menus, in other words. So it's something really simple that only, you know, I mean, if you are creative, if you have a very creative mind, you can come up with very amazing designs. As I say that you find different developers, and different developers have different innovative ideas on how to deliver projects. Now, the next one that we are going to finish with is the hover. That's for the nav, obviously. And I'm gonna put the hover there. So obviously if I do this, nothing is happening, it's so much boring. So I want to, if I put my mouse here, like a hover mainly just select an element when the mouse moves over it. Now for example, if like currently if I point here, nothing is happening, it looks so much boring. So I'm gonna have a hover, and I'm gonna give it a color. So the color of that hover, maybe even blue, which is aqua. You can try aqua, right? Let's see if we are fine here. And then you save it and refresh. There you have it. You see that? Now it's all up to you. Like if you want to change this color to yellow, to red, to whatever you wanted, you will change it. Now we have our navigation bar, our menu. Look how it looks. It looks absolutely amazing. But just like I said, you find different developers with different skills, and you know, with different innovative ideas. So it's all up to you. But this is just you know, the beginning for you to have an understanding on how to really create a navigation bar. So with this, you see, it looks at least amazing, but I believe you have an idea. But currently if I click on home, nothing will happen because I didn't link the pages. But I'll show you an example on how to link one page, but I will want you guys to link all the pages. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna create another new file HTML document, and obviously you need to save it, please, in the same folder. My folder is on the desktop. Desktop, where are you? Here. Okay, my project is nav project, and I'm gonna name this as home.html, right? So there we have it. Okay, so what can I put here? You know, yeah, I'll copy this and just come to my home, and what am I doing? Paste, and yeah, so obviously I'm gonna remove, no, you can have it there. So I am going to put, no, I'm gonna remove this for now, just not to confuse you guys. I will rather remove this for now, but and then save it. Okay, so how are you gonna link this page? You go to the index, and if you ever look at here, the link here of the home page, or the home, I put a hashtag because I didn't have any page. So right there, I'm gonna write the name of this HTML page. So I'm gonna put home, exactly the same as I've written it, or as I have saved it, .html. Okay, file, save. Let's see now. So So if I click here, it should take me to another page. Absolutely, there we are. So there we have it. So that's our first session on coding on a navigation bar. So I will want you to finish linking these pages, and please have your own picture, whatever it is, resize it and have different colors, and just come up with something creative. You should continue with this website. No, in other words, let's make it something different. I will want you to put a form on this page. I want you to put a registration form on this page. That is your task. So this is where we are going to end for today, and I will see you in another lesson. Goodbye.